Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to give my top 10 reads of 2020. Now, if you're familiar with my top 10 reads that I did, I for sure did it last year, I may have done it the year before as well. I basically choose the 10 series that I enjoyed reading the most during the year, and my only stipulation is that I had to have started the series during the year. So it doesn't have to be something that was released in 2020. It literally just has to be something that I started volume 1 for the first time in 2020. So some of these I read to completion, some of them are ongoing series, so I only read what I have of them. But these are the 10 most enjoyable reads of this year. And this is my own opinion from my own collection. There may be other things out there that you've enjoyed more than me. But, that's all the power to you. There are also, things that I didn't put on this list that, deserve to be on this list, but I only had 10, and I've been mulling over this list for a few months now, and things just keep getting added to it, and I'm not making it any smaller. So I just picked 10, and this is how I feel in this moment about this year and the manga that I've read. So I'm going to start off with Area 88. I read the first 18 issues. Area 88 is from the 80s. Viz released these floppy single chapter issues, and they never released it in a compiled book format, unfortunately, and they also never finished it. They only released, I think, 42 or 43 of these before they stopped printing it in North America. I own the first 18, and then I own some subsequent issues, but they're not in order, so I haven't read any farther than the 18th issue. But this is basically it's a fictional country and a fictional war that this character, I believe his name is Shinji or something, he basically gets swindled into a contract where he has to pilot this fighter jet and help fight this war. And he's in this contract for years, and he basically either has to hit a certain amount of kills or, work out the length of his contract. But unfortunately, the nature of the work is that most people don't live long enough to actually be free from the contract. So we're following our main character. It is an excellent, excellent series. Lots of cool fighter jets if you're into that kind of action, but also really good story. Like, there's a lot going on, and you're kind of unraveling the mystery of how he ended up there and what is actually going on and who are the players involved in all this. And it's got a bit of romance as well. He just wants to go back and be with his girl who he hasn't seen in forever. Yeah, it's really, really good. I wish that, with all the classic stuff being reprinted right now, I really, really would wish that, Viz or somebody else, if they don't have the license to it anymore, would release Area 88 to its completion. If not physically, then at least digitally, because this is something that still holds up. I mean, I was having a blast reading it, and I think that it would be pretty popular today if they, tried to release it now. But yeah, next up, also these are in no particular order. I literally just threw them in a pile, and I can't choose like 10 through 1, with 1 being my favorite. I just can't. So I just threw these in a pile. They're not in a particular order. Next up, we got Ten Dance. This is by Inoue Sato. This is a Kodansha release. I believe we have 5 volumes out right now. Volume 6 comes out early 2021, or close to the spring, maybe. I don't know if it got pushed back. But this is basically, these 2 men are professional ballroom dancers. One of them, this gentleman here, is more into the Latin dance side, whereas this guy is into the standard dances. They want to participate or compete in the 10 dance, which requires them to know all 10 different dances. And so they're teaching each other their respective 5 dances within their category that they usually stay within. And of course, there's some romance that happens. So it's a adult kind of boys love series. Very slow burn, because they're not, they become friends, sort of friends frenemies, I guess. I don't know. But the tension is building. This is a super sensual, really, really good story. And like you can feel the sexual tension building. And if that's your thing of like not immediately releasing the tension, like with some yaoi where it just obviously gets right to it, this is a very slow build. And even in volume 5, we've had very, very little explicitness at all. Yeah, I think that this is an excellent series. If you are not reading Ten Dance, highly recommend it. Not to mention just the beautiful ballroom dancing as well. We've been getting some pretty good ballroom dancing series here in North America, and yeah, it's just really, really excellent. And like, look at that face. Highly recommend Ten Dance. I do have a full video, first impressions of this series, where I'm just gushing about it. So check that out if you're interested. Next up, we got the Kasasan, and this is the 5th and final volume of the first series. But the Kasasan and series is about these two girls. It's by Hiromi Takashima, and it is a 7 Seas release. It's about these two high school girls. Kase-san is on the track team, and Yamada is on the gardening, like she's a gardening committee, greenery committee, I think is what they call it. And they basically kind of fall for each other and start going out. The art is really cute. Kase-san with her little beanie is like, it's adorable. This is the cutest girls' love I've ever read. It does still have a little bit of sexual themes because they are attracted to each other, but they take it kind of slow. But there is a bit of smuttiness in this if that's what you're looking for, but it's not over the top and it doesn't feel unnatural. It feels like these two girls really do genuinely care about each other and love each other and are having fun, in each other's presence. And then the spin-off series, which I haven't read yet, is Kase-san and Yamada, and that's when they're in college. So I'm super stoked to pick that up. But this year, I just picked up the main series, the 5 volumes of it, and it was the cutest thing I've read in a long time. And I really love the art. Everything about it is so enjoyable. It's funny, it's adorable, it's makes your heart beat fast because they're so cute together, and it's really like, it feels, I don't know, it just feels really, really adorable and queer, which I liked. Some girls' love just feel really I don't know, like fan servicey, whereas this one felt like I would know these people. Like there are people like this in my city that I would absolutely hang out with, right? Like, it just feels quite, it's over the top cute, but it still feels grounded, I think. Next up, we got Astra Lost in Space, and this is by Kenta Shinohara. This is a Viz Shonen Jump release. It's 5 volumes in total. I actually read this on the Shonen Jump app, and then I went out. I only own the first 3 physically right now, but I will buy the final 2. But I read the whole thing on the Shonen Jump app. Lots and lots of text in this one, but it's a quick read, and it's very, very captivating. So you like breeze through it pretty quickly because you just want to know what's going on. This is a kind of, it's a bit of a mystery, actually, which I really like, and space, which I've been super into lately. And it's about these kids, these high school kids who go on it's obviously set in the future. They go on their final senior trip, which is basically they go out into space to a planet or something. I can't really remember exactly the logistics of it, but they go on a little mini week-long vacation or something to this other planet, and they basically just have to survive and rely on each other. Turns out they get sucked into this wormhole, and they're just shot out into space. And now they're trying to survive on this broken down ship together and trying to get back to their planet so that they can go home. But unfortunately, things just aren't going their way. And, it's a mystery about how did this happen? Why did this happen? It seems along the way that somebody may have done this on purpose. And so the question is, why were they paired together, and why is somebody trying to get rid of them, and who is that somebody? It is excellent. Excellent storytelling, excellent characters. It's phenomenal. If you were looking for a shorter, I would recommend this to people who are just getting into manga, because it is in 5 volumes, cheap Shonen Jump price, an excellent story. And I think that anybody, regardless of what demographic you normally read from, be it like shoujo, shonen, whatever, you will enjoy this. There's enough romance, deeper story and character development, as well as action. The art is fantastic. The different planets they visit are so cool. Nothing is spared in this series. It is all just excellently illustrated, and the story is fantastic as well. I do also have a review of that one on my channel, if you want to check it out. Next up, speaking of really beautiful, cool art and world building, we've got Girls' Last Tour. This is a 6-volume series by Tsukumizu. This is a Yen Press release. This is so good. If you are looking for a quiet day to just read something that's just going to mellow you out, Girls' Last Tour is what you're looking for. This is a story about these two on the cover here. They are in this basically apocalyptic wasteland, and they're traveling on their little motorbike car thing, and they're going towards something. You get the sense they have a destination, but you don't really fully understand what that destination is. Look at this excellent artwork. It's just so cool. Very barren, very quiet. They're some of the last surviving living things at all, basically. And it's just you get these really wonderful full page spreads, excellent architecture, but it's all dilapidated and old, and you don't really know what timeline this is in, but it's in the future because they reference things that are from our time as being ancient sort of things, or things that they didn't themselves experience. But yeah, it's not one, if you want answers to questions, you're not going to get them in this. This is really a very, very slow story about them just traveling through this wasteland, experiencing different things, looking for food, water, essentials, whatever. But it's not dire. It's not fast paced, or at no point are you thinking, oh my God, they're gonna die. They don't have food or whatever. It's just a very relaxed travel log, basically, of these two, but in a world that we're just not in this existence here, where they're kind of alone, and everything is broken and old and fallen apart. But yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's not depressing either. You would think, oh my God, they're in this barren wasteland, whatever, but there's hope, and they just find pleasure in the little things, which is really uplifting and really beautiful. And it was a really good one to read in 2020 when I was stuck at home for months at a time, and just needed something to cheer me up. The faces that they make, the jokes, the way that they pick at each other with sarcasm and humor it's really wonderful, and I highly recommend it. Next up, we got Therapy Game. This is a 2-volume yaoi series put out by Sublime, and it is by Meguru Hinohara. This is the sequel spin-off to Secret XXX, which is also pretty good, but Therapy Game was my favorite BL that I read this year, or yaoi series that I read this year. It is so cute. It is explicit. Here's the color page in the beginning here. It's basically about this guy. These are adults also, which is nice. these are the older, or the, sorry, not the older, the brothers of the two that are in Secret XXX. And this guy is openly gay, super kind of effeminate, but like punk effeminate. It's really, I like him a lot. He's funny and has a temper to him, and he's hilarious. This guy is straight, and he ends up at this gay bar, gets really wasted. I think his girlfriend cheated on him and dumped him or something. And this guy ends up taking him home with him because he's super drunk and doesn't know where he lives, so he can't like get him in a taxi to get him home. So he just takes him back to his place. And when this guy wakes up, he is, they're both naked. They're in the dude's bed. He's like, oh my God, that was a mistake. Thank you for your help. Whatever. I'm getting out of here. So this guy vows revenge to make this straight guy fall for him so that he can laugh in his face and be like, ha, joke's on you. That didn't mean anything kind of thing, and get back at him because he kind of fell for him a little bit that night and was upset that he didn't remember anything. And so he wants revenge on that, or for that. And it's just really cute. I love their dynamic. I think that they work really well together as a couple. I like how queer this series is. Same with Secret XXX. There is so much, there's like a drag bar that they go to. There's just other queer people in the story, and it's not just like, oh, these two guys are these two straight guys are together, whatever. It's like, no, some of these guys are very openly gay and queer, and it's just lovely to see. And I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, not to mention the beautiful art. The explicit scenes are well done. The story is well done. I love the characters. Highly recommend Therapy Game. Next up, we got Shuzo Oshimi's Blood on the Tracks. This is a vertical release. Lots of people talking about this one this year. Super suspenseful, really, really slow burn, but super creepy and just unsettling. Excellent, excellent. Beautiful color pages too, like watercolory sort of things. I can't show you much because I don't want to spoil it, because this series is one big... you got to experience it yourself. But very Oshimi-esque art. But it's basically about a very overprotective and clearly mentally ill mother and her son, who is about 13. He's in middle school. And he's just kind of seeing a side of his mother that I think he's been suppressing for his entire life, and he's now kind of seeing it right up in his face, and he doesn't know what to do. And it's about clearly, stress, anxiety, dealing with somebody that is very, like, so mentally ill that and as a child, you just don't, know what to do. And yeah, you're just basically watching this family sort of unravel due to some very serious events that take place, and it's unsettling. Excellently executed by Oshimi, as usual. With his works, I enjoy them immensely. It's just, you gotta read it. It's so good. Next up, another very slow, beautiful series. It's Aria the Masterpiece by Kozue Amano. Tokyo Pop was releasing this back in the day. I have some of the older editions. This is one of the newer ones. They started releasing them in 2-in-1s recently. These beautiful editions with these lovely, there's so many color pages. There's so much beautiful, beautiful art. But it's basically another sort of space one almost. It's a Venice-esque place, but I believe it's on Mars. And so our main character moves to Mars from Earth to go to Neo Venezia, which is this version of Venice, to be what's the word? It's a gondola. She wants to be one of the people who steers and gives tours around Neo Venezia on the gondolas. And so she's basically one of these little, I don't remember the word for them. They have a name, the position name, but she's in training basically, and so she meets some other girls close to her age who are also in training at different companies for these gondolas, and it's beautiful scenery, super slow pace, super chill. She meets lots of fun characters because it's like clearly very far in the future with lots of, they have lots of technology that we just don't have. It's really beautiful spreads, excellent series that I'm really glad Tokyopop is re-releasing because they never finished it in the single editions. So, assuming of course they finish, there will be I think 7 of these 2-in-1s. Assuming of course that they finish the printing of these, which I think they're almost done. There might only be like one more that needs to be released. Then this series will be complete, and with the nice gold foiling, like these will look excellent on the shelf. Beautiful release, beautiful series, very funny. It's a comedic slice of life series, but with a bit of a fantasy sort of space twist. Lots of nature, a lot of water because they're basically, the whole town is on water. Yeah, it's just excellent. It makes me laugh every time. It just takes my breath away with how beautiful the art is. I'll show you. Oh, there's a nice color page. Lots of these really non-glossy, which is my favorite, non-glossy color pages throughout all of the volumes. Just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Highly recommend. Another excellent one to read in 2020 when I was at home and stressed out. Really calming series. Next up, we got Sweat and Soap. Lots of people talking about Sweat and Soap this year. Definitely one of the best releases of 2020 in my opinion. This is volume 5, which literally just came in the mail like an hour or 2 ago. So I have not read this one in particular yet. But basically, we've got an adult romance that is excellently done. This is one of the best adult romances I think I've ever read. Hopefully if it continues on this track, it doesn't take a complete, 180 and change up the pacing. This may end up being one of my favorite romance series ever because it depicts such a beautifully healthy adult relationship that you can just tell that they love and care for each other, and it's so excellent. It's a bit smutty, but not overly explicit. It's just, it feels real. You're meeting the parents. They both work in the same company, so you get a lot of workplace stuff, which I love. Workplace, especially workplace romance, but just workplace series in general. But yeah, it starts off, a lot of people talk about the smelling fetish thing. He basically meets her and loves her scent. He is the product developer for this perfume deodorant company, soap company, and she works in like the accounting department, I believe. And so he, being the product developer, is a very scent-oriented person, and when he smells her, he just can't get enough of her natural scent, especially when it's mixed with the products that he makes. And, you can think that's weird, whatever, but I mean, sensory stuff, especially with someone you're attracted to, is just a thing. He just is a little bit more focused on the smell aspect, which doesn't play, like it's prevalent in the first couple volumes, but it really doesn't continue to the same level as it is in the first couple, at least in the next 2 that I've read. It just becomes, yeah, we know that he likes the way she smells, but he's not as obsessive about it because they're seeing more of each other, so he doesn't have to be as obsessive about it. But yeah, it discusses topics like moving in as adults. What does that mean? Are we planning a future together? Do we meet our families? Do we, tell our coworkers that we're together? And it's just so good. So good. Recommend it. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Again, another one that kind of transcends the demographics because this is technically a seinen, but like I don't care what demographic you normally read. This is an excellent series, and I think that there's something for everybody as long as you enjoy like more realistic stuff. If you're into action battle stuff and that's all you like to read, then you're probably not going to enjoy this. But if you do like some romance, if you like workplace comedies, if you like a bit of smutty stuff, like this has got it. Pick it up, read it. It's great. I've got like the highest tower of books next to me, and I'm hoping it does not fall. The last one that I have is The Strange Tale of Panorama Island by Suehiro Maruo. It is based on the book. It's based on a book, so he didn't create the story. He just made a manga version of it. Suehiro Maruo does eroguro, or erotic grotesque manga. This is not as definitely has a lot of explicit nudity and stuff in it, but it's not very grotesque. It's a horror-ish psychological series. Does have some violence, but not horribly. It's not like Super Dimensional Love Gun kind of gross. So in terms of erotic grotesque mangaka, this one is a pretty safer bet to start with, I think, if you're kind of trying to dip your toe into that sort of situation. But yeah, I've wanted to read something by Suehiro Maruo forever, and I just haven't been able to get my hands on all those out of print stuff. And when this came back in print, this is printed by Last Gasp, a smaller publisher, I was like, oh, getting it. I don't pay full price for manga, but this I paid the full price for because I was not waiting for it to go on sale and potentially miss out on it. And I've read this twice this year. It is so, so good. The art is just breathtaking. The story is so captivating. Basically, we have this guy who is a struggling writer. He happens to have a childhood friend who they look identical. And he finds out that his friend has died, and he decides he wants to fulfill his fantasy of creating Panorama Island, this oasis, this adult getaway theme park where it's just sex and beauty and everything is, gorgeous and opulent, and he just doesn't have the funds to do that. But his friend is an extremely rich man, and when he dies, he decides, I'm going to go and pretend to be him and take over his life where he left off and then create Panorama Island. So he fakes his own death, goes and pretends to rise from the dead as the rich dead friend, and basically takes over his life and starts creating Panorama Island. And it's really, really captivating and creepy and just, again, unsettling, but okay. Yeah, it's just unsettling because you're like, this guy just clearly doesn't have any morals or values that align with what normal people would see as appropriate behavior. But it's just so good. And it's not overly long. It's a pretty quick read. But like I said, I just was so captivated by it the first time I read it that, I don't normally read the same thing twice in 1 year. And the fact that I picked this up again to read it tells you how much I enjoyed it. And the second time, just as good. Doesn't matter that I knew everything that was going to happen. I was just as blown away by the art, just as enthralled in the story, and I highly recommend The Strange Tale of Panorama Island. If any of that sounded interesting to you, go and pick it up. I will hopefully get some of Suehiro Maruo's other works at some point in my life, but for now, I will continue to reread this one over and over again because it was just phenomenal, in my opinion. And a nice big hardcover as well, which is lovely. So yeah, those are the 10 things that I enjoyed the most in 2020. There are some others like Blue Flag and The Monster and the Beast and, there's other things I could have put on this list that I enjoyed immensely, but these are the 10 that kind of really stood out as different, unexpected, and just like I just really, really loved them. And we'll definitely be reading them again at some point soon. There's a few of them that I already am like, I want to read Girls Last Tour again already. I can't wait for the next volume of Ten Dance. And yeah, like it was a good year for manga, and I hope that 2021 will continue to be good for manga. So anyway, thanks for watching. See ya.